Hello everyone, and welcome into today's amazing episode of Vintage Halloween Sterling Silver, a wonderful antique Buddha that could be worth an absolute fortune that I paid $20 for, a ring that I made, 2 trays of Bakelite, a span of Bakelite bangles, of course the famous veggie necklace that I'm so well known for, and when I say a tower of absolutely wonderful vintage papier-mâché pumpkins, I mean an absolute tower. Check it out. So I set this up just a little bit ago. It took a tremendous amount of work to round up all of these items for you, and this is the final vintage Halloween episode of 2025. So I hope that you're back from the other 2 videos that I've done. If you haven't seen my other videos on vintage Halloween collectibles and decorations, please go over to those 2 videos. I did one quite a bit ago, like a month ago, and then I did one on the vintage and antique Halloween postcards, and you all have absolutely loved both of those videos. This is the final installation. Now, of the pumpkins, I only have 12 of them out right now, and actually there is, let's see here, there are 10 pumpkins, a black cat, and a skull, okay? Underneath that are vintage feather tree ornaments that I might tempt you with for my vintage and antique Christmas that will be coming up within about a month. Who knew that the year would go by so quickly? And I want to thank you all so much again for joining in. So you're going to ask yourself, this sterling silver tea set and service set that's over here, solid sterling silver, over 40 troy ounces, worth over $1,200 in silver. And back in the day, I purchased those 3 pieces for, I believe, $450. So silver is also a great store of wealth. Now, and please ignore the acorns that are continuing to fall as the wind continues to blow. Let me straighten out the feet a little bit over here. And if you ask yourself about the pile of acorns over here, I had a really bad joke about, well, I guess I could say it. Us in Ohio might have small nuts, but we have much bigger balls than most of America. So anyways, those are acorns out of my trees that I found this morning. Bully Run Coffee is where we sell on YouTube. So please race over to Bully Run Coffee, and I hope you like my humor because it's never gonna go away. Now this Buddha over here, let me grab it and let me bring it up to the camera. I am very far away from the table if you couldn't tell, but look at this gilded Buddha that I bought. Very early. I bought this at an antique mall for $20. I'm doing a ton of additional research on this. There are some broken digits on the hand. So this is either worth, once again, it's either worth, let's say, $350 to $550, or this could be worth several $1,000s. It is going to take me some time. I think, according to what I know as of right now, because of the oxidation across the surface and the age of this piece and the fineness of the carving, I truly believe this is going to be worth thousands. I found one in a Miller's Price Guide because I do my research through books and my library rather than Google Lens and looking things up online. It's a great way to be misled if you decide to do it that way. But I decided to go old school and look this up in my books. One was listed for $17,000. That was only 2 inches taller than this. Look at the way the robes are carved and that beautiful, beautiful gesture of the open hand. Let me show you all the way around, and also I will show you the base. Look at the age of this. Absolutely correct for a period and true antique. Wonderful surface all the way up to that ultramarine blue paint and pigment that was applied to those, that knotted hairstyle. Wonderful gesture on that face. Look at the serenity of that. Again, I purchased it for $20. I was willing to take the virtual, shall you say, scratch-off lottery ticket that day. Tons of oxidation and years and years and years of dirt and debris, a very honest surface. Never scrub these, never Windex, never overly clean them. When you start to do that, you erase all of that honest surface that we look for. Absolutely exceptional find. You're not here for that, but I also decided to show you one of the rings I made. Yeah, everyone says, that can't be a ring. It's a flower in a vase. And I said, no, it's most certainly a ring. I like them big. What can I say? Lucite, rhinestone, solid sterling silver filaments, completely hand constructed by me in 2000. And I think this one was 2004 or 2005. And I've lost track of so many of my creations and when I did them, because it feels like so long ago. It feels like 3 or 4 lifetimes I'd actually created art and gave birth to such whimsical and amazing pieces. And look at the sun. Look at Mother Nature wanting to show off my work as well. So we'll put that back in the vase. I'll be bringing that back to a video. 2 trays of Bakelite leaves that I wear in the fall. I'll do a close-up of that in just a minute. And again, that sterling silver tea set. Let me zoom in on that. Let me see if I can go over here. And let me see if I can move my camera down a little bit. Let's zoom in 1 stop. Let's zoom in 2 stops. Too far. Let's zoom in 1 stop. I don't know how to use my camera because I always just, I always just leave it the same through these videos. So I did make myself a note, and inside, one piece is 1.9 ounces, troy ounces. The large one is 23.89 troy ounces, and the smaller creamer is 6.57 troy ounces, bringing it up to a whopping 40.445 troy ounces. And I was figuring sterling out at 31.52 an ounce, bringing it to 12.73.40. But this is worth way more than its weight in metal, and I loved that design for Halloween. I absolutely loved that Viking design, and look at the faces. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous detail on this incredible set. This is from Copenhagen. And a ton of hallmarks, maker's marks. I believe each piece has up to 4 hallmarks. Date letters, circa dating this to the early 1900s. And look at that surface. Absolutely incredible. While I tell people not to polish their silver, it does leave a lot of residue. So I just say, let it oxidize, let it do what it's supposed to do. And every time you polish, you're starting to erase more of this detail. See that fine chasing on there? That fine chasing. So this is chased and repoussé is the way this is constructed. And as a silversmith, they tell you all these hand engraved details. Every time you polish with compound or a polishing cloth, you will get rid of some of that. You'll get rid of some of that detail. And that's really sad. Love this. And check out and my bracelet, because everyone said, can you please bring on that building bracelet again in turquoise? And its biggest secret. Oh, wait for the big reveal. Let's see if I can get it off. Wait for the big reveal. And here it comes. Look at that inlaid surface on the inside. Yeah, I said, oh, yes. Yes, all day long. We'll get into that in another video. But look at that, the way it's constructed. All stone on stone buildings. Absolutely incredible. And, I was thinking about a really great clickbait for this video, and I thought, I'm going to put in the title, this is my last video. And then I put ... on Vintage Halloween. But I don't do the clickbaity. It's not worth it. I want the people that want to be here. I don't want to pay bots and fictitious subscribers to come to my channel. And then you wonder why you have problems with vetting your bots. Are you going to be able to know who's at your channel? I don't think so. Check this out. Look at the teapot or coffee pot. I would say this is much more coffee pot than teapot because the size is just so gigantic. And look at the surface, the way this is completely, absolutely gorgeous in terms of its sterling silver work. The insulators on both sides here to protect your hand from the heat. And look at those medallions. And again, dragons and griffins and mythological creatures. The gesture and the grace of this beautiful neck that swells up here to that very tight lip. Love, love, love. Absolutely love it. So, and thank you all so much for understanding my humor from time to time, because boy, oh boy, I can be really snarky. At least I know my limits, right? We're going to zoom in on this next. And let's go from the bottom up. Let's go in reverse of what I wanted to do. And, for the Bakelite lovers, more spacer bracelets. Circa 1950s. Very great colors for the fall. And this absolutely says this is fall in Ohio. Look at those in the sunlight, and that's why I've collected Bakelite for so long. And again, a quick plug, if you want to know where we sell on YouTube, usually every Tuesday night, Bully Run, all one word, and the word coffee. Please race over and subscribe to Jeremy's channel so that he doesn't have to go nuts with me. So here we go. We're going to go in and we're going to be very serious now. We're going to be extremely serious as I continue to giggle and fidget with the camera. Let's go down there. Now, I had shown you a couple of these in my previous Halloween video, but I wanted to show you at least another 12. I have 17 more. 14 are in a museum setting as of right now. I do not have them in my personal collection, or I would have shown you those. Hopefully we can get into those next year. If I'm still creating content on YouTube next year, which I'm hopeful I will be, I will definitely be doing videos on these. Why these are important, they have absolutely surged in price yet again. These are made out of pressed paper or a paper pulp, like a paper composite, and you can see that that is all paper that is pressed inside of a mold. These are then hand painted, and the tissue that is inset from behind, which I'll show you lit up in just a few moments, the tissue that's inset from behind is stenciled or decaled. Those are not hand painted, at least in these versions. Circuit dating on these, you can get them as early as the 30s, you can get them as late as the 1950s. So circuit dating on these, we say circuit dating 1930, 1940. I am by no means a Halloween expert. I just know from collecting it from now the last 25 to 26 years. And this one, why I wanted to bring this one on first was, this was purchased at Goodwill many years ago, and I believe I paid $4.99. I think it was $4.99, and these are now worth, for this specific one, with that little grimace and the wonderful face and the little furrowed brow there, I would say on that one, retails $165 to $175 in Ohio, in antique malls here. Could you get more somewhere else? Possibly. Would you expect to get less in other places? Possibly yes as well. Again, no fighting over values. I just say, you know, that's the way it is. This one was also a wonderful surprise. This is the skeleton. This is a very difficult one to find. I will fair warn you now. If you feel like you're going to find one of these, anything is possible these days. This is old and original. This one's slightly earlier. I would say early 30s, circa dating again. Some people say that they were doing these before that. This is definitely pressed paper, but you see it's very thin. So this is a very thin paper, not that kind of pulp and thick. It's much, much thinner. And the candle would go down in there, and I hope you can see that there was actually a candle done in there. I wish I had my flashlight. Come on, son, come on out and help me out. So there is a candle holder done in there, and there are drips of wax done in there. So this absolutely held a candle that would then eliminate that tissue paper. Can you imagine the safety concerns today? Unbelievable survivor. That is an original tissue with the eyes from behind, and beautifully, beautifully constructed. I think this one cost me, I think it was $70 back in the day, 70 or 80, and I saw one of these at a local show for $425. I believe this could be the smallest version. If there's a Halloween expert out there, I defer to you, and you can leave it down in the comment section below if this is the smallest of them. And what I loved about it is, I loved that it was different. I loved that it was unusual. I loved that it was a skeleton and not necessarily a pumpkin. Value is just, it is going up, 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 up constantly. And let me put these two down here, because I do want to show you the feather tree ornaments really quick. And then I told you in the last video that I stack them like totems. So when they're out on display in the houses, I will stack them in layers of 3. Sometimes I'll stack them in layers of 5. And because I don't have any cats at my house, I'm not worried about it. I would not attempt to do that at Jeremy's. That's for sure. So look at this. The face is just magnificent. All original tissue on the inside. Some people, when you find these, some people have asked, are there tissue paper replacements? And absolutely yes. And the reason why I know that for sure, 2 of them that I'm going to show you have replaced faces. The face that's on the sheet of tissue that goes in behind them. Again, pressed pulp on this one. A lot of times you'll find an original price on the bottom. They were very affordable. 39 cents, 49 cents, very commonly ink stamped on the bottom of these. But I know that my fellow Halloween collectors out there are going crazy during this video. That one probably the same thing, maybe 225, 185, 225. That's as close as I'm going to get on that. And the larger one. Anytime you get bigger, bigger isn't necessarily better, but the gesture on this one was magnificent. And you can see that pressed pulp again, missing the wire bail handle. You can see that some child was very aggressive and yanked the handle right out of it. And yeah, you can see that down in there again. So we've got dripped wax. Old wax down in the bottom. You might ask yourself, you might be saying, hey, Jason, do you have any of the original candles that went inside of these? Absolutely, but I store them separately because what if my air conditioning gives out one day? It would be a mess to come home and find melted candles on the inside of them. I'm always thinking ahead. This one was 59 cents for the large version, and that was a great thing that I did not know was on the bottom of this one, but what perfect timing. I just said there's the ink stamp, 59 cents. 59 cents back in the day. And now, even as is condition, 265, 275, not unheard of. The wear on the face, I love the honest wear. They are reproducing these pumpkins, so please be careful on reproductions. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you any reproductions today because I simply don't have any in my collection. This one of my favorites. Look at that. Look at the colorful face on that one. And look at the light helping me out. The sunlight coming through these. That's why I wanted to do this video outside. I said yes. Can you imagine a kid? Imagine the life of this pumpkin, this jack-o'-lantern. Can you imagine how happy that would make a child? Bail handle is missing. I sometimes will leave the old paper stuff down in. It should be archival, so what I would recommend is there's acid in this paper, so just stick some archival paper down in it, acid-free. Look at that face. Absolutely, yes. The gesture, the color, wonderful. There's the bottom. So please be careful with reproductions. And for all the Christmas lovers, I know it's not the time of year just yet, but just wait. Oh, look at these feather tree ornaments. All original German feather tree ornaments nestled in their original box. Look at some of these. Absolutely wonderful and whimsical. We have little clusters of flowers. There's a star, an acorn, a strawberry. There is a beautiful Santa head. Very unusual find. These are all miniature. Look how small this Santa is. Are you ready? So all the feather tree collectors out there are like already screaming at their device that they're watching me on. Look at this Santa, and look how small. Feather tree ornaments. So you might ask yourself, what are feather trees? Well, come on over to my Christmas videos, and I will show you a collection of feather trees you will never forget. In my house, currently, right now, I have, let me make sure I'm telling you correct. I have 9 fully decorated feather trees, and they're from Germany, and the smallest one is 3 feet tall, and the largest one is 6.5 feet tall. And check that out for German feather tree ornaments. I love them. And someone would say, no, I think they're Japan. And I would say, no, I think I just said they're made in Germany. So some people, it's like, just bear with me. If I don't know something, I will gladly tell you. And I have to put these 2 pieces back in here. Let me pause for 1 second. I got them safe back into their resting place. And let's go up 1 layer. Aha. For all of the jack-o'-lantern fan club out there. Yep, and the light's going to come through them, so I'm going to let them sit on the shelf for a while. Look at that. Absolutely the same thing. Wire bail handle. Please be careful. Please, please, please be careful on reproductions. I've always loved this one. Look how old that one is. And look at that handle had been, broken off. And a dad or a grandpa so lovingly ran another wire, another very thin wire. Let me block out the rest of that. ran a very thin wire. Boy, is that out of focus. My camera is so focused on the black cat. I'm sure all of you are. I'm sure everyone's eye is going right to the black cat. Let me see if I can get in on that. There we go. See, now we're in on the dust and dirt as well. When people say, what do you collect? I say, jack-o'-lanterns, dust, and diamonds. My collections didn't stop at anything. I had a huge ant on my leg just now. If you would have seen the dance move that I did. Oh, I hope my neighbors are watching. I hope they're watching from their window. Oh, that crazy guy is back outside talking to himself. The bottom is completely gone. That would have been just a piece of cardboard or paper like I showed you on the skeleton. See how that was applied? So that wasn't cast, that was actually applied. And you can see that this one is earlier, bent paper. So like molded paper, and you can see that that's not the pulp. That's not the paper pulp. That's actually molded paper. I would say a slightly earlier technique than the pulp. So look at that construction. And someone had to assemble this with little staples. Absolutely incredible. Origin on this one, I would say Germany. Some of these are, I forgot to talk about origin. Some of them are United States as well. Let's see here. I have one that's signed too. I don't think I have it out here. No, I don't have it out here. I think the face on this one was replaced. No, the face on this one is original. That's the original paper inset. And I got distracted, but look at the teeth on that fella and his crazy eyes. Absolutely. Oh, and I remember what happened. So why I put this in here, this was loose and in the bottom of the pumpkin. So this was actually off. That was off and in the bottom of the pumpkin. And I just put it back there and put that tissue in to hold that in place. I need to get acid-free paper in these. I need to heed my own advice and make sure that I'm keeping these in good, safe care. On this one, values. On this one, 135, 175. Good range on that one. This one, even as is, to more of a primitive American collector, because the face is so charming. Something about this one, the energy on this one is just, people will respond to that like I did, even with the speckles on it and the wear to the paint and the oxidation on the face. And the wire handle being replaced and no bottom, I still say like 265, 275. That's what I would put it out at. And I don't feel that's too aggressive. This one, because it's unusual, I've not seen this one very many times. Even with the rips in the paper, I would still say on this one, because it's so very cool and different, I would say 265 to 295 full retail. And on the black cat, everyone's favorite. The black cat I'd wanted for a long time. This isn't original. However, the face has been, the inset has been replaced. I did order that online, so that is a replacement. It's not original. The original probably decomposed or possibly caught on fire, and you can see where I got that back in. So I cut it to fit, and I just put a tiny little bit of water-soluble glue in the very corners, across the top, very small amount of glue. I always use glue that is reversible, and this little lantern of the black cat is amazing. I love the black, I love the orange. I think it is a fantastic design, and what I loved is the compartment to put your candle down in there. Again, sometimes the candles will burn through. That little metal stay that was in there probably got too hot and then burned a hole right through the bottom of this. So very, very, very rare survivor from time to time to find those. I think when I bought the black cat, I think I paid without the face, I think I paid $125 for this. And at the time, that was a really great buy. I'm not sure what the black cat is going for now. I'm kind of out of that current value on the black cat specifically. I'll check at the Midwest Ohio show. So if you love vintage and antique Christmas, holiday, and specifically Halloween, that's much harder to find, there is a Midwest holiday show, and it is in Canfield, Ohio. Jeremy sets up with the coffee trailer there. I believe by the airing of this video, I think it's November 1st. You can double check that information online, and I do think that I'm going to go out to the show, and I might do a quick recording from the show if you leave it down in the comment section below. So if you leave me a comment and say, please go to the Midwest Holiday Show and please do a video and show us the current value values of some. I'll tell you what, there were Santa Clauses there the last time that were $8,000. Believe it or not, there are vintage antique holiday decorations that are thousands and thousands of dollars. Anyways, I'll do some research on that before I make a comment. I would guess the value would be around $250, give or take. Maybe it's $225, maybe it's $325, but I think that that would be an appropriate range. And way up top on the tippy top shelf, the sun is going to be in your eyes. So there are the three at the top, and I will bring them down because I'm going to tell you now. This little one I had in the previous video. It is made out of a dried gourd. So that is actually a miniature gourd. That is not pressed paper. That is an actual gourd. That is an actual dried out gourd that they cut the top off of, dug that out, and then look, they have the candle holder done in there. I bought two of these at an auction in Cleveland for either $40 or $80 for two, and I think it was $40 for two. I listed one on eBay several years ago. It wasn't as good of condition, and it sold for, I believe it was $700 or $800. And that was so long ago. I know that it was $700 or $800. I remember that because the amount of money I made, I was stunned, and I got to keep this for free. So I kept this one. Current value on this, I'm not sure. Did it go up? Did it go down? If you know in the comment section, leave it down below. But look, it's a miniature. And it's totally made to have a candle in it. There's the bail handle. And look, they had a candle down in there. And look, there's like dried out wax down on the bottom of it. Hope you can see that down in there. And yeah, that is the original tissue face. It does have a lot of wear to the tissue. But like I said, the other one was in way worse condition. And that went to, I'm sure, a very advanced collector back in the day. Do you see how small this one is? And I love the face. There's something so whimsical and wonderful about vintage holiday decorations. Absolutely exquisite. And I love the color. I love the honest wear. I love the surface. I could go crazy and tell you all about that. I'd never want to sell that one. This one I replaced the face on as well. I believe that I picked this up at a yard sale. And here, look, I just said the metal things will burn out the bottom. Can you imagine that this whole thing almost went up in flames? Think about how many have been lost over time that were just completely consumed by the candles inside of them. Such a tragedy, but after all, you know, paper and candles, really not a good mix. Sounds like me and some content creators. So the tissue paper face, I did replace that. So that is a replacement. It looks completely period, but that is a replacement. On this one, I would say, you know, for a beginner collector, you could pay $125, $135 and not regret it. And maybe you get a really good bargain at an antique mall and you get it for $95. You know, that would be a great day at an antique mall. If I found this for $95, I'd be consuming it. That's what I will say. Now, the biggest one that I have in my collection, and this is not supposed to be with me right now, but it's this one. And let me zoom out because we're not going to get him in there. Okay, let me zoom out. Let me move the camera back. Uh-oh. We're not going to get him in the whole frame because he's so big. Let's go down. There we go. Everyone that collects early Halloween just completely lost their mind. And I think the standing offer on this, I may have been slightly confused. I know I was offered $1,500. I didn't take it. Then I was offered from another collector $1,700. I didn't take it. And I think they countered at $1,900 and I still didn't take it. Look at this. It is absolutely incredible. This is likely a store display or a parade. Definitely not just a normal paper jack-o'-lantern. It is that pressed paper, not the pulp construction. And look at the way they altered that. There are tears inside of the face, but again, I would rather have the original inset like this than a reproduction. I would not know what the face would look like unless that was there. And that has been there for a very long time. On this one, could be as old as 1920-ish, give or take. Some people will say they're slightly earlier. I will say I circa date things like this to around 1920. Again, if you disagree, you can leave it in the comment section below as long as you're kind. If you come for me, I would challenge you. Oh, look at the profile, the mouth, the expression, the age, the wear. Can you imagine this completely still existing? Original oxidized paint on the surface, polychrome, gorgeous surface. Love that this would have been one of the largest And again, I don't think it was ever used because I'm not sure, being enclosed like that, if a candle wouldn't have caught this whole thing on fire. Again, on this one, current value, I guess I could take it back to the Midwest show and I could say to someone, hey, what would the current value on the giant jack-o'-lantern be? What would the most current value be? And maybe now it's down to $800, and maybe now it's the lottery ticket that's worth like $3,000. You know, supply and demand. How many are there in the world, and what is the demand? How aggressive would a Halloween collector get if they had the opportunity to buy something? Supply and demand, basic rules of business apply to even the antique and collectible world. So let me set him right back up there. And if that was your favorite, please leave it in the comment section below. But did you see how I went from the smallest of a holiday collectible in Halloween to the largest version and one of the more rare versions? Now, I was also going to show you some of the Bakelite brooches from my collection, and we'll just do a quick little look because I've done that in videos before, but these are all Bakelite leaves. And why I said I collected the Bakelite leaves is because fall in Ohio is just so absolutely gorgeous. So if you love Bakelite and you love brooches, please consider going over to one of my Bakelite videos. And if you don't get enough love out of this, look at that tray. Are you absolutely kidding? Check that out. Let's see if we can zoom in on that one. Hold on. Let's see if we can zoom in on these. Let me put this one back and let's zoom in. Let's go. I'm so getting used to this thing called technology. You would think at 50 I would have a better grasp of such things, but I genuinely don't. I could just sit and stare at that. This collection in my Bakelite collection, it's been going on for, since 1999, I would say. I really got into Bakelite in around 2002, 2003, when I started to meet in person some of the national collectors. But some of my favorites are in here, and I love wearing these in fall in Ohio. So check those out, and then look at this other tray. What on God's green earth is going on? So absolutely love these. Some of my favorites in here, the oak leaves. Oh, I have it upside down. Oh, what a blunder. Hold on. Let me set this back down with the other one. And there we go. And did you see that I actually decorated for all of you with fall leaves? I really didn't. They just fell all over my table and I left them there. Oh, I wish I could take the cover off of this and go in close on those for you. But we'll just do a quick little look at some of the florals mixed with wood, and I love that lady's face in the center. Look at the way light just dances across Bakelite as one of the most beautiful materials. So yes, my collections won't stop at anything. I'll go from pressed paper to a carved Buddha to a ring I made to sterling silver that's worth thousands. So I just really want to thank you all so much for joining me again. I hope you go forth with peace and kindness. Happy Halloween to all of you. And you know, because it's totally true, I simply love you because I do.